All right, y'all, today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business and see if it has BSS for its local high intent keyword search and its city high intent keyword search. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we take declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographers in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that and, whatever, pinned post, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're falling, we're missing somewhere on this, intent ladder. We're not capturing the amount of people we need to at each intent step or intent level. So we see over on the left, BSS, that's what we talk about here. That's the highest intent people doing, social search, Google search. And then over on the right, the lowest intent people, that's BLCS, that's our other brand, Boudoir Facebook Ad Doctor. That's where we're working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand per month on their boudoir Facebook ads. But BSS, that's what we care about today. So let's care about the highest intent people right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, and we're invisible. We're basically dead. And that's because that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past the first page. That's literally page 1 only. So those 20%ers, we don't care about them. We want to deal with the 80%. 80%ers, the bulk of people. Now, 1 slot on page 1 also is not good for us because we look like everyone else on page 1. If there's not other boudoir photographers and everyone's got 1 link, then the searcher, the buyer, is simply going to click, literally click and opens everyone's website, contact everyone. We don't stand out at all. Probably won't even remember our name. So boudoir search sameness, boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but it's not normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First deeper root cause is market saturation, which most know about. The second one is the false belief of page 1 equality, which most people do not know about. Now, the market saturation, that's where it seems like every week someone gets a new iPhone, they throw up their Google My Business profile, and they say they shoot boudoir, they got their website up, they're competing with us to rank on page 1. Basically, more boudoir photographers over time competing for the same number of buyers, so it makes it harder, more difficult for everyone to compete. So that's consistently pushing people out of page 1 onto page 2, and effectively invisible to 80% of searchers that never even go to page 2. Now the new one here, we got the false belief of page 1 equality. This is new because people have kind of auto-accepted it because there's never really a word to describe this. For people to say, oh, I agree with that or disagree with that or I think it's true or false or whatever. But the false belief of page 1 is equality is basically assuming, getting 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google is the default. It's the norm. Everyone either has 0 slots or 1 slot, and maybe you had 1 slot on Google page 1, but market saturation puts us off to page 2. So all right, we got 0 slots on page 1, we got 1 slot on page 2, and all right, that's how it is. That's how being a boudoir photographer is. But no, actually, we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the work for. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So this kind of page 1 equality assumption or like default belief, default assumption is 100% incorrect, which we'll see in a few more pictures down here. We also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. I mean, if you got 0 slots on page 1, you're definitely disappearing. 1 slot on page 1 probably also disappearing as well because there may be some other people that got 2 slots on page 1, and we're not at 1 slot. We're not standing out at all. We're basically invisible. We're being price shopped against everyone. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine where once someone becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and they don't fight against it, then pretty soon, eventually, the entire business disappears as well. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine of what can happen in the next future in the business. So BSS, luckily we got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S cubed methodology. we invented this, been working on it for about 7 months now. We're liking the results so far, so we're bringing it to market. And to utilize S-cubed methodology, remember it's social search saturation. So we saturate search on Facebook search, Instagram search, TikTok search, YouTube search with what our people searching for boudoir photo shoots would be typing in. So we show up there. And once we do that, that actually flows over to Google. So saturating social search actually flows over to Google kind of as a byproduct, giving us multiple links on page one. And again, I went from 0 out of 10 links on page one to 9 out of 10 links on page one for what I wanted to rank for in 10 days. And so the magic about this is the only way someone can use this is if they crash, if they destroy that false belief of page one equality. Because once we use S-cubed methodology, and once you actually see these results I got, we'll realize, oh, that belief was actually false. Page one equality is not the norm. Google actually will give us as many links as we want to put in the effort to acquire, as many page one links. And so the second magical thing about S-cubed methodologies is it's the only thing I've seen that actually fights back against market saturation. So imagine if there's, we're a boudoir photographer in LA, and there's a total of 1 million boudoir photographers in LA. Everyone's got their own website. So everyone's, fiercely competing to be page one on Google. But imagine we take the S-cubed methodology to the extreme where we rank so hard for the highest intent keywords for people searching for boudoir photo shoots. And, we absolutely crush social search saturation, where literally like the first 300 slots of any and every search related to boudoir is us. So it's around all the social platforms that flows over to Google. And let's say the first 300 organic results on Google are only us as well, because we took S-cubed methodology to the max. So the fact that there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers actually doesn't matter to us, because for the first 300 slots, anywhere somebody looks for a boudoir photo shoot in LA, we're the only ones there. They got to go down to slot like 301, and Google is 10 organic slots per page, so they got to go to page like 31 to find another boudoir photographer. So whose business is still doing great? Ours, even though there's literally 999,999 other boudoir photographer competitors. So this is one of the special things about S-cubed methodology. It's the only thing I've seen that actually, builds momentum and helps us compete against market saturation. That can happen relatively quickly. The only other second thing would be brand. People doing branded searching for our brand specifically, but that takes years. So this is something that happens way faster than years to build a brand. And now once treated with S-cubed methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we're actually seen on page one, even though, we may have had one slot on page one, we're still kind of invisible. But with page one visibility, we got 2. Well, we go for the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here for local search and city search. But the added bonus is every new slot we take up on page one, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible, because approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They stay on page 1. And as a result, kind of as we take 4 out of 10 slots, 5 out of 10 slots, 6 out of 10 slots, people searching for, at least the 80%, the big chunk we're going for, they can only price shop us or compare us against 2, 3, 4 boudoir photographers instead of against 9, because they ain't going to page 2 anyways. And so this is one of the other bonuses. It's actually kicks our competitors out of basically being found. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, because we're no longer at a 0 or 1. We're no longer at 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and boudoir search for So we're actually standing out. Well, 0, 1, and we won't get to 3 because there may actually be someone else that has 2. I mean, 1's most common, 2 is kind of rare. But if we got 3 out of 10, we're ultra rare. And we're definitely standing out against people that have 1 slot each, and still standing out against people that got 2 slots. It's probably only one other person. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. And this our university disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Once we accept page one equality is false, now we know, okay, now we can tackle it, we can solve it. The only thing I know of that can solve it is S cubed methodology. It actually solves, the only thing I know that can solve both false belief of page one equality and market saturation. We achieve page one visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, so these are my results actually doing, so ranking for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So that's what I wanted to rank for. So we got the AI overview, got the Google Map Pack. Now looking at organic. So I got organic slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So I got 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google. And this was after I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And kicked everyone else off page 1. I took it over. And this is showing the power of the S cubed methodology, where Google wants to give these page 1 slots to the people that want the page 1 slots the most, and to be relevant to the user search. So these slots are always up for grabs for everyone that wants them. So now we got the main event here. You can see this boudoir photography business has BSS for its local search, Aliso Viejo, California, or its city search, This one I actually made pretty broad, OC, Orange County, California. So let's check that out. All right, so Aliso Viejo, California. All right, let's go to the organics. Boom, we got organic 1. Ooh, nice. We got organic 2, or we got second slot there, slot number 3. So we got 2 out of 10. Boom, we got 3 out of 10 with the Yelp. 4, Event Detective. I'll take that. 5, MapQuest. All right, awesome. Perfect, dude. 5 out of 10. Dude, anything three's the minimum we want to hit. So good. We do not have BSS for local. That's a default. We should never be. Dude, we should be dominating local. Every boudoir photographer can dominate their local search. So 5 out of 10. So we do not have BSS, and we hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. And guess what? The more slots we take up on page 1 on Google, the more competitors we kick off, the more people who want to buy from us will never even find our competitors, because approximately 80% of all Google searches are page 1 only. They never even go to page 2. So boom, that's local. Let's check out larger. Now, technically this is not city, this is county, OC Orange County, but there was no big city. I mean, I could have done Anaheim, but they were too far away from Anaheim. So let's see. All right, we're looking. All right, here we go. Got 1. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. So we do have BSS for the larger city search, or in this case, the county search. So we'll treat this as the quasi-city search. So we do have BSS for the city search, and we are not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 for the city search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done your local search, you've done your city search, either have BSS for one of those, or you're not meeting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for one of those. And you realize this means you're starting to disappear. A disappearing boudoir photographer. This is the first kind of flag, the first kind of warning light. If we start becoming disappearing here, eventually the business becomes disappearing as well. And you're seeing SQ methodology like, yes, this is exactly what I need. This is what you've been wanting to use or wanting to have as a solution for a while. And you've already broken out the false belief of page 1 equality. And you understand market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear, okay. And you're loving the initial awesome benefits, SQ methodology, more links page 1 Google, kicking more competitors off page 1 on Google, kind of making them become disappearing boudoir photographers. And you're looking ahead, and you're seeing, since you understand market saturation, you're actually seeing that AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs more and more over time. So it's literally going to be kind of bringing in a larger and larger amount of boudoir photographers over time. So you're realizing you got to fortify your position on page one on Google, not just get it right now, but actually kind of build up even excess links in the back end in reserve that so many links out there that actually prevents any future competing boudoir photographers from getting on page one either. And you're saying, okay, SQ methodology is also the only thing you see that can accomplish that. So it's kind of a near term extra benefit. And you want to achieve boudoir search page one visibility, so that you become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you know you need those things in order to become the number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand the future backend benefits of becoming number one, or of utilizing SQ methodology. Is basically the first one is you're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of like plugged into your brand, plugged into your business name, your website, your social media handles, or kind of like spokes, hub and spoke, plugging these different spoke columns into your brand that actually bring, that actually eat up mind share in the back end Google AI kind of like mind brain. And so, that every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, higher chance you'll be getting recommended here AI overview, because you're basically bundling up kind of these building up repetition, authority, relevance, frequency, age of these invisible thematic keyword columns that takes up AI mindshare, which also increases the probability of recommended AI search. ChatGPT growing AI search growing every single day. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Google search is still, approximately 90% of global search, but AI search is literally growing every day. It's what I use most frequently. It's basically just give me the summary. I don't want to click through it after reading and figure these things out myself. And I know last time I did search for boudoir photographers in a city that I got 3, and then I went searching myself on Google, and there's like approximately 60 in that city. So I'm like, okay, we definitely got to be building momentum here, increase the probability recommended in these 3 slots. And you're seeing, okay, SQ methodology is the only thing that will build these invisible thematic keyword columns for you to achieve this increase in probability of AI search being recommended for AI search. And you're also understanding that, my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you decide, hey, you're going to jump on this first, get all these initial benefits, box out your competitors so they can't use me, build up this kind of invisible momentum gap with your competitors to where, we can get it to where essentially they can never, ever catch up to us. And, the converse, if your competitor were to work with me first, that you'd actually have to go rederive or derive SQ methodology for yourself. And then you'd have to go execute it. But you would never be 100% confident putting in the time to execute it, because you would not know if you've even derived it correctly in the first place. And, when you'd have to equal our execution every day with me and your competitor, and that's simply to maintain the gap. To actually make up progress, you'd have to double or triple our output every single day using the system I invented, and to close that gap, be able to basically pull that AI mindshare back from me and your competitor, kind of those invisible thematic keyword columns. And who's got 80 hours in a day to do that? So you're like, screw that. You decide you're going to be first mover of your city, to actually get all this stuff done. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed, not taking any new patients. But when my DMs do open, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.